back to another vlog. I have some good news to share. So I have found a work placement, which is really exciting because I wasn't sure how long it would take for me when I came back from Paris to find an architecture firm who was willing to take on a placement student. But I have found a firm and I'm really excited to work there. I'm going to be working there for a minimum of 3 months, but potentially longer. And as a student, I'll be helping out with whatever projects they're working on, and it'll be so fun to learn from real projects, because obviously what we do at uni, the projects, we never see them fully realised. We don't know how the projects would translate into real life, so this will give me the opportunity to really learn and gain a lot from the experience. And I found a really good firm whose style and approach to architecture really aligns with my own, so I'm really looking forward to it. And they're actually I'm not sure if it's one of or the oldest architecture firm in England, and they opened in 1860, so yes, they do lots of amazing work around the Cotswolds, and I'm really looking forward to working with them. So I will start work with them on the 1st of March, but until then I'm still at home, which is nice because my sister has a half-term holiday at the moment, so it's nice to spend some time with her. Today I'm going to have a pretty chilled day, probably start the day by practicing the piano, and I'm going to make a quiche for lunch, and I'll probably just walk around Bath a bit. There is a bookshop called Chopin and Company that I really love in Bath, and they've relocated and I want to go and see their new location, so I might go there and show you around the bookshop because it's a really lovely one. And often they give people who go there tea for free, so maybe I'll sit and have a cup of tea and read there. That would be nice. But yeah, it's just going to be a relaxed day. So now I'm going to be preparing the quiche that I'm making for lunch. I've already started making the dough and the filling, it's just a matter of putting it all together now. So the piece that I played is one that I've been working on recently, that I've recently learned. It's Chopin's Raindrop Prelude, and I really love that piece so much. I don't know if you guys are fans of Chopin, but he's one of my favourite composers, and with that piece, every time I play it, I just feel the music so much. You know, when you feel your heart rate quickening and you just lose yourself in the music, and it's such an amazing feeling, and I love that piece so much. It's not perfect because it's one that I've recently been working on, but I thought I'd play it for you anyway just to show what I've been doing. I also have a radio in the kitchen just here, my little radio, and I normally put on a classic FM whenever I'm in here cooking or baking, just because I love classical music. I find it so relaxing. Yes, like I said, Chopin's one of my favourite composers, but I also love Debussy, who's a French composer, and I also love Ralph Vaughan Williams, who is a British composer who lived in Surrey. I've actually visited his house in the Surrey Hills where he used to live. It's amazing, and I love his music. And what's really interesting about Ralph Vaughan Williams is that he travelled around the English countryside, learning English traditional folk songs and folk music, tunes, and things that were disappearing, because obviously these things weren't written down. They were just passed down generation to generation in the villages and everything, and they were disappearing. So he would go around collecting all of these tunes and then compose new pieces using the tunes as the basis and the inspiration, and I find that so fascinating, that a way of saving them was to convert them into something new, and lots of his pieces use those things and those old tunes, and I just love them. I love his music, it's incredible. I've always dreamed of visiting Chopin's house because he was his mother was Polish and his dad was French, I believe, so he was half Polish, half French, and he has a house in Poland where he was born that you can go and visit, and I've always wanted to go there. I think it's so cool, but it's just, Chopin was such a genius because the piece that I played, the arrangement Prelude, he composed it when he was 24, and I'm 20, and I'm just thinking I could never compose something like that. I don't know how he was able to do it. It's honestly a genius. What I'm doing is I cut a piece of baking paper into a square about the size of the dish that I'm using for my quiche, because I find it so much easier to transfer the pastry into the dish by flipping the paper rather than trying to just put the pastry, because otherwise it always breaks. So that's a tip if you're ever making pies or anything like that. Okay, I think that's about even, so now I can just grab the dish and the pastry, and voila. Maybe just take off the paper and then put the pastry into the dish. That's my tip of the day. What's a coincidence as well is that at the moment I'm reading a book by the French author Georges Sand, and she was Chopin's true love, his lover, which is a coincidence because I found that out after I started reading the book and playing his pieces, and it was just funny when little things like that overlap in your life, and you know, all the links and connections you can make. I bought the book while I was in Paris because I went to the Museum of Romantic Life, and lots of her things were there in the museum, so they were selling her book as well because she was a romantic author, which is really cool. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm reading the book Elle et Lui, which means her and him, and it's basically, apparently it's based upon one of Georges Sand's romances, so it's obviously with another man, not Chopin, but it's with a French painter, and based on their love affair. I don't know if that's true or not, but apparently that's the basis of the book, and I've started it. I'm about a quarter of the way through, and it's really good so far. And it's good to keep my French going by reading in French, because I'm worried that by moving back to England and never speaking French anymore, I'm just going to forget it, which would be a shame, because obviously living in the country for 6 months, I really improved my French, and I don't want to lose the language ability. Okay, so now that the pastry is in the dish, I'll put the filling in. I have quite a lot of leftover pastry, but I have some smaller dishes, so I'll put it into there, and if there's any leftover filling, I'll just make another smaller quiche. So this is the finished product. The quiche is ready, and I am ready to eat my lunch. I'm actually very happy with how it came out. It looks delicious. So I've gone for a walk, and look at this beautiful tree. It's full of blossom. Some of the first blossoms are starting to come out. It's really lovely. I'm walking, well, I've gone for a walk up and down Bathwick Hill, which is intense. Let's say one of the good things about living in Bath is that you don't need a gym membership, because you can just walk up and down all of the hills, and that's plenty enough exercise. It's really intense, but it's beautiful. It's because Bath is a historic town. It's protected, the whole city is protected, so people aren't allowed to build developments around the city, which means it's just surrounded by countryside, which is one of the great benefits of living there, because it's so easy to go on a country walk. You just step outside and walk around the city, and it's really lovely. And I look at this beautiful house. Another good thing about being in Bath is that it's full of beautiful Georgian manor houses. So I'm just walking, admiring the countryside, admiring the architecture, and it's really nice. I hope you've enjoyed having a little sneak peek into the Topping & Company bookshop, because honestly that shop is a book lover's paradise. I love that it has all of the floor-to-ceiling bookshelves with the ladders that people who are shopping there can climb up to grab the books. It's really like something out of a fairy tale. And the building that they've moved into is so beautiful. It's a historic, traditional Bath building, and it is stunning. So even just visiting and walking around the bookshop, you just get lost. I could spend hours there just looking through all the books. And what I love about that bookshop is they have lots of beautiful editions as well. So they have lots of first edition copies or like specially bound classics, and lots of signed copies as well. So if you're looking for a gift, it's a wonderful place to go to find a signed copy of a book. And yes, it was really lovely. And I'll put a little picture here because I did sit there and read, and they provided me with a cup of tea and a little biscuit, so that was really nice, a complimentary drink. But I had a great time there, and today I'm planning to go for a trip up to the Cotswolds, so a bit further north than I've been going around recently. And I'm going to go to the village of Painswick to have a look around there because I've never been there before, and just go for some walks in the countryside. I was hoping to go to a National Trust property, but lots of the properties are still closed until April because they close over the winter months and then reopen in the spring and summer. So I'm probably not going to be able to do that today, but we're still going to have a wonderful time looking at the cottages and the villages and the countryside. So let's go.
Such a heartbeat pounding in your chest. The final hour before.
So I just went for a walk around the village of Painswick, and it was so beautiful, so small and quaint. And now we've come to Broadway. We're going to go to a pub for lunch and walk around the shops here because there's lots of lovely shops, and I'll show you what they have.
Let it go to rest, and in our story, the story. If you make no promise, there's no regret. It's over by the time you finish your cigarette. We're so into blue skies, but we don't hear the thunder. We're dreaming about the past, but going on. At least that's what they say. And now it's over. And now it's over. Wish we had done this. Wish we had done that.
So I stopped at Hamilton's, which is a traditional British sweet shop. I picked up some traditional British vanilla fudge, so I'm going to eat this as I'm walking around because fudge is very traditional and British. And as you can see, the sweet shop with all the glass jars and the wooden cabinets are very traditional and very pretty. from Broadway, and I had a wonderful time walking around the village. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I loved going around all the little boutiques, and I love that they have lots of interior design shops in Broadway, because I like walking around and just dreaming about my future house and saying, oh, I'm going to have that in there. And oh, I think I filmed, there was a beautiful library room with a desk and just lots of antique books, and it's literally how I would love to have my house in the future, with a little mezzanine level as well, like a balcony that looked over the floor below. It was beautiful. And I love walking around and just dreaming about houses. So I've come back, I've made a cup of tea. Oops, I need to... made a loose leaf tea, bought them a Mason Royal blend, so I'm going to pour that now and have it with my fudge, because I haven't eaten it yet, and I thought I would try it on camera to show you what British fudge looks like. So this is the fudge that I got, and it's really cute. I love the bag as well, with a little picture of Broadway Village on it. Fudge is a traditional British sweet, or as Americans would say, candy. I'm not really sure how to describe it. It's a bit like caramel, but it's a lot softer and more delicate in texture. I can open the... So it looks like this, and it's really delicious. The smell is so good, it just brings me back to my childhood. Fudge was definitely one of my favourite sweets as a kid. Let me know what your favourite childhood treats were below, because I'd be interested to know. That's really good. So tomorrow, my plan is to go to a National Trust garden, because I've been researching, there's one open near Bath called the Cotswolds Garden. So I'm going to go there tomorrow. I'd probably bring a book. I'll go there alone and just sit and read, and I will show you around the garden, because I think it'll be something a bit different. And I've heard they have lots of snowdrops out at the moment, and since they're in season I thought that would be interesting. So now I'll just have a cosy evening drinking my tea and eating my fudge. And tomorrow I'll have another trip. Hello, so like I said, it's the next day, and today I have just arrived at the Cotswolds Garden, which is just a 20-minute drive from Bath. It's not far, yet I have never visited, so I've brought a book with me. The weather is lovely and beautiful and sunny, and I'm hoping to just be able to sit, put my face in the sun, enjoy the garden with the early spring flowers, and just read, which sounds like bliss to me, and I'm really looking forward to it, because it's the last few days that I have of freedom before I start my work placement, where I'll be working from 9 AM till 5:30 from Monday to Friday. And since the place where I work is a 50-minute or 55-minute drive from where I live, I know that it's going to be long and intense, so I'm just enjoying these last few free days that I have. And like I said, today I'm just planning to read. I've got two books. I'm not sure what I'm going to be in the mood for. I've got a Georges Sand book, which I'm reading at the moment, called Elle et lui, which is obviously in French, so I'm trying to keep going with my French. But I also have a book of Keats poetry. I don't know how I'll feel. I have options. So yeah, I'm going to go and have a look around.
It's a good idea.
Can't even describe to you how peaceful it is here. It's so soothing for the soul to just walk through a garden and just listen to the birds, look at the clouds. And today the sky is really beautiful. It's like almost as if the clouds have been painted into the sky. That's how perfect they are, and it's such a wonderful forget-me-not blue, and it's just so peaceful. It's just soothing for the soul. I feel like everyone should walk through gardens and just enjoy them every now and then. Lush. Obviously it's still winter, so there's not that many flowers, but it's still wonderful to look around and see the garden in this season. And I'm looking forward to coming back when the flowers do come out so that I can see how the garden changes. That's one of my favourite things about visiting gardens multiple times, to see the transformation over the seasons. The main flowers that I'm spotting around the garden are crocuses, obviously like before, and snowdrops. And there's lots of primroses and daffodils, and also I've been seeing some helleborus, so there's quite a bit around actually. I suppose this is the orchard area with the apple trees and pear trees, but they're all bare at the moment. The magnolia is all in bud. I don't know if you can see the little furry buds. Now this is interesting. There's mistletoe growing on the apple tree. I've never seen mistletoe grow so low to the ground. Handy to know for Christmas, where it's easy to reach and pick. In the orchard there's actually a lot more apple trees with mistletoe on them as well, and this plant actually has the berries on it, so you can see in there all of the white berries. It's all mistletoe. And like I said, that's really cool because I've never seen mistletoe growing on apple trees like that, something a bit different. I feel like this is a good spot to sit and read, with the sun just up there. And under the apple trees surrounded by crocuses. This is where I'm going to stop for a moment and read. So I have decided to read my Keats because I feel like it's quite atmospheric and just suits the mood, and it's just really peaceful. You can see that they have lots of rhubarb growing here. Perfect to make rhubarb crumble. That's what I like to do with rhubarb. And this helleborus is a beautiful colour. Such a deep pink. So I hope you enjoyed this week's video. It was a lot just me reading in different locations, reading in the bookstore, reading in the gardens, but that's what I like to do in my downtime. I haven't had time to read in a long time, so that's why I've been doing that. and I hope you enjoyed going to some Cotswold villages and looking around the Courts garden. The first signs of spring are coming. It is nearly spring. Spring is coming in March, the spring equinox, and I'm really looking forward to it. But you can feel that energy returning to nature, and it's nice to have some peaceful time. So thank you for watching. If you liked this video, then please subscribe to my channel to join me on more adventures around England, and I will see you next time. Bye.